In the heart of Stockholm, a vibrant community is coming together to advance public health. By combining knowledge and adapting our approaches, we strive to balance prevention and cure. From the challenges faced in times of conflict, we're learning how to better support those in need and strengthen health systems. Through innovation, we are uncovering insights that reshape disease surveillance. By being prepared today, we can protect our world against the unknown threats of tomorrow. And as old foes reemerge, understanding their origins allows us to stop them in their tracks. Shape the future of public health. Discover more in the full program of ESCAIDE 2024. Download the ESCAIDE mobile app to discover the program, connect with other participants, and make the most of the conference. And don't forget, next year's destination is Warsaw, Poland. But first, welcome to ESCAIDE 2024.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. It's my great pleasure to introduce Pamela Rendi-Wagner, Director of the European Centre for Disease Prevention and Control. Please.
Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to ECDC's ESCAIDE Conference 2024. It's such a good feeling, and it's a pleasure to see so many of you here gathered today, but also online. We'll hear the very impressive numbers later on from our Chief Scientist. And I think it's important more than ever to come together and to exchange and find solutions for the upcoming years and decades to come. Why? Because we live more than ever in a very unpredictable world, a very challenging world. We live in a world of health threats which are more and more complex, and we are facing a very uncertain international stage. At ECDC, we face more and more the necessity to take an even bigger role in building the international cooperation that is needed to prepare for the upcoming global health threats. So we face the need that Europe should be an even stronger player in global health security. Everybody talks about preparedness. Wherever you go, wherever I go, everybody asks me about preparedness. And indeed, preparedness is at the foundation of many, many things we do at ECDC and all of you are doing in your countries. But preparedness is much more than just detection, data, and response. I think preparedness is also prevention. And although the term, well, the letter P is not mentioned in the abbreviation of ECDC's name, the short name, as you know, we all know that we are the Center for Disease Prevention and Control. Prevention is receiving more attention at ESCAIDE this year, and I think this is a very, very important factor and thing. And it's for sure not a new topic for all of us, working in public health for years and decades. After all, one of the most effective public health interventions, vaccination, is prevention. So we cannot lose focus on prevention. Just look at AMR. Monday was the European Antibiotic Awareness Day. So just look at antimicrobial resistance and healthcare-associated infections. For example, prevention has such a critical role to play when it comes to our interventions. So coming back to today's conference, and I'm very much excited also in the context of prevention that we are launching as ECDC at this conference, the ECDC Lighthouse. This is a prevention community of practice, and we will do this today. The ECDC Lighthouse will enable public health professionals, researchers, community leaders to connect, to learn from each other, to collaborate and to share their experiences, their best practices, and innovative approaches to prevention. And honestly, I hope that all of you will be part of it, and your colleagues as well will participate and build a robust network that will strengthen and improve all our work in prevention in the future. This is a crucial time for the field of public health, as I mentioned before. The pandemic eroded trust. It eroded public trust. It's the trust in politics, it's the trust in medicine, trust in science, trust in public institutions. Well, and we see this at ECDC, and I'm sure all of you see it, that this loss of trust leads to a decrease of vaccination rates in many countries, and in turn is leading to outbreaks of vaccine-preventable diseases such as measles and pertussis in a high speed. So what we always should know is, without the trust of the people, our work cannot have the desired impact. And actually, it's not the desired impact, it's the necessary impact. The impact we need to make a change in public health in Europe and beyond. Best surveillance data, best risk and threat assessments, best interventions. If there is no trust, there is no impact. So, now is the time to take really clear, proactive and strong steps to regain this trust. And I want to quote in this context also our next speaker, guest speaker, thanks for coming, by the way, to Stockholm and to join us, Professor Chris Dye, who said in one of his books, public health literature is packed with advice that is not followed, and with too few attempts to find out why. And I think this is something we really should have in mind when we discuss a lot today. So how do we do it? How to regain trust in the end? Well, I think first of all, people need to understand. They need to understand what we recommend, what we mean by risk. So it needs a clear and transparent communication when it comes to our recommendations. And moreover, I think we have to be more positive when engaging with people. And first of all, we have to engage with people. Sometimes this doesn't even happen. So engage with communities, engage with the public and the individuals. And this needs to be done in a more positive way in order to motivate them, motivate people to take the right choice, to take the healthy choice for themselves, for their families, for their kids, their parents, and their communities. And that's the reason why ECDC has implemented a new methodology that centers behavioral science to develop a more targeted approach to increase our impact. By taking social context into account, it means we give people not just an advice. It means that we don't need to raise the warning index finger and saying, you need to do this, you must not do that. No, by taking social context into account, it means to give people opportunities. It means to give people capabilities and the motivation to take the right choice. So it's a positive approach, which I'm very convinced works much better. So we will be sharing much more about this and our experiences also and activities to support the Ukraine with behavioral and social science and many other things also later today at this conference. So let me come back to the beginning of my speech when I mentioned the growing importance of international cooperation. We all know, and this is not new, well, viruses do not recognize borders. So if we want to counter viruses successfully and efficiently, we need an international cooperation which does not recognize borders. That's the only way to go. And that's a huge lesson learned from the large pandemic. That means preparedness in a post-pandemic era means much, much, much more international collaboration. I recently returned from Japan with Piotr, my chief scientist, where we signed a memorandum of cooperation with the Japanese Ministry of Health. So is this important? Yes, it is. It's actually the 7th memorandum of understanding and cooperation ECDC has signed since its founding 19 years ago. Why is it important? Well, these kinds of agreements strengthen our abilities to detect, to get new data, to understand and respond much, much quicker when we get the information from Japan, from China, from Korea, from the US, and many, many others, before we wait that we read this in newspapers or anything else. But more importantly than data, I think, is it opens strong channels of communication with countries on other continents, with researchers in Centers for Disease Control in Tokyo and Atlanta, and many more. Because open channels of communication are important to create trust. And here we are again. It needs trust for cooperation. And you cannot build up this trust when the crisis hits. That's too late because the pressure, time pressure, is much too high. So you need to build up these channels of communications much before the crisis hits to create trust. But maybe more relevant when it comes to international cooperation for many of you here in the room is the EU Health Task Force of ECDC. And that's a new thing, that's part of our new mandate, ECDC's new mandate following COVID-19 pandemic. And just a few words on that, because through this new health task force, we can deploy experts, ECDC experts, to provide hands-on, on-the-ground support in member states and other continents. And that's first time actually in history. It enables ECDC to first time to reach out. It empowers us actually to reach out. And actually it's our responsibility now to do that. So this task force has deployed ECDC colleagues to DRC, to Congo, to support the local Mpox outbreak response. And we are also closely watching the Marburg outbreak in Rwanda and support it on the ground as well. EPIAT fellows and experts from member states have contributed a great deal during some of our recent deployments abroad. And I would like to thank all of you for your contributions and for your commitments doing this. Thanks a lot from my side. This is an important time for ECDC and the whole field of public health. With our reinforced new mandate, ECDC has new responsibilities and new opportunities. But they're only as good as much as we use them and take the opportunities, as much as we take really concrete steps towards a better prepared continent. And this can only happen in collaboration with all of you. This is maybe the most important message. So let me come to an end and say conferences like this ESCAIDE conference can only happen with a great team. So let me thank here and now to the team who is responsible for this extraordinary ESCAIDE conference. First of all, Piotr Kramarz, our chief scientist. Thanks so much, Piotr, for your commitment and your management. But also to Cristina da Cruz. She was really the one doing everything. I would not know what you didn't do the last weeks and months and actually the last year to prepare this conference. Thanks so much, Cristina. But also thank you to Luciana and Margot and also the scientific committee, which is of utmost importance because at the end and at the beginning, it's about scientific evidence we talk here. So I very much look forward to your exchanges, to the fruitful discussions we're having here, for the engagements and building up trust between us. So let's go ahead. Future is there for us. Thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, before I introduce the next speaker, I do notice that there are some people at the back of the room perched on the windowsills. We have a lot going on until 10:30. If I could invite you, there are plenty of seats just here to the right of the room. I would encourage you to move. Staying there does not get you closer to the coffee at coffee break. So you might just want to, there are plenty of seats over here if I could encourage you to move down. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my great pleasure to introduce Piotr Kramarz, Chief Scientist at the European Centre for Disease Prevention and Control. Piotr.
Good morning. It's now my pleasure and my turn to welcome you to ESCAIDE 2024. ESCAIDE holds a very special place in my heart because this is my first year as the Chief Scientist of ECDC and the Chair of the ESCAIDE Scientific Committee. I just got the final numbers, as the Director said, of the participation in ESCAIDE, and I can tell you that we have almost 800 people who registered for on-site in-person participation. And we have more than 3,000, actually 3,156 joining us online and counting. There are more joining, actually. And it's more than last year. For colleagues who are connecting online, we try to make possible for you the full participation in ESCAIDE. The technology doesn't allow us yet to offer you coffee online, but we are working on it. For those who are here, we organize ESCAIDE in Stockholm every other year in November because we want you to develop resilience, and Swedish weather is a very good medium for that. If you can cope with this, you can cope with anything. But now Pamela started doing this, but I wanted to really thank our ESCAIDE Scientific Committee, and it was definitely a highlight of my last year in ECDC to work with them. You see their names here. The way it works, they have 3-year terms, but they start and stop at different times. So we will be saying goodbye this year to 3 of them. It's John Kinsman, it's Luisa Peixe, and Chikwe Iekweazu. So let's give them a warm applause. They really put their brains and their hearts into building the program of ESCAIDE. They spend a lot of time doing this with us. So I would like to thank them very much. And we will be here. You can tell us any comments about ESCAIDE. We want to improve, of course. The world is changing. We need to change ESCAIDE, and we want to be ahead of the curve. So please tell us what you think, because next year we are meeting in my home country, in Poland. But it's not only the number of participants, which is very big. We also received a lot of submissions. We got almost 900 abstracts, from which we selected around 300 presentations, and they were grouped into more than 50 sessions. And I think these 900 abstracts is really a testament to how vibrant the field is where we work in. But I wanted to thank especially those presenters and their co-authors who will be presenting at ESCAIDE. Your research is really the heartbeat of ESCAIDE. It's the heartbeat of fight against communicable diseases in Europe and globally. And finally, I would like to also thank the 200 reviewers. Your work is key in ensuring the high quality of ESCAIDE, the quality for which the conference is very well known. But ESCAIDE is more than just presentations, posters, fireside sessions. It's primarily about connections. Sometimes the best ideas come up during the coffee breaks, you know that. And one thing that I love the most about ESCAIDE is the fact that it allows us to connect on a very personal level. So we could put together the best program and make all the arrangements, but it's you who help us to create the unique experience of ESCAIDE. So let's create this experience together. Let's meet, discuss, build bridges, form alliances. Let's learn and enjoy ESCAIDE together. Thank you very much.